I'm really sorry. And I was like, sorry for what? What do you mean? He goes, I'm really sorry, there's no heartbeat. And I was like, literally, I was shaking. I was like crying. I was like, what do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean?
Hi, thank you for coming on to share your story with Saima. So basically, we're just going to get straight into it. Okay, so I'd like to know a little bit about you, please, as a person. So how old you are?
I'm 33. I would say that I'm really outgoing, really bubbly. I'm definitely a people's person as well. I'm always up for a challenge, meeting new people as well. Um, really career orientated as well, and definitely family orientated as well. I've always wanted to have a big family. I've come from a big family myself, so I've got two brothers, three sisters. So I could see myself like having a big family of my own as well. So that was one of my dreams. And yeah, definitely I'm a just like bubbly person.
Okay, so speaking of family, you obviously you got married. How long ago did you get married?
I've been married for 7 years, even though it doesn't feel like 7 years.
Oh, bless you. So 7 years ago you got married. So obviously was your time for a baby?
Yeah, when I got married, I wanted to have a baby straight away. But I didn't think like how hard it would be. I would, as a girl, I would thought that you just get married, you'll have a baby. Is it simple as that? But it wasn't. Like there's so many things that people don't are not aware about. What people think that are barriers, like kind of thing, like when can you get pregnant, ovulation dates, certain times go when you can conceive. I was unaware of all this information. I was trying for a good 6 months and I thought, oh my God, why is it not happening? Am I gonna get pregnant? And back of my mind thought, imagine if I can't have kids, like how come all my friends are getting pregnant, like similar age to me, they all get having babies, and I thought, oh my God, what if I can't get pregnant? So I would just like talk to my mom, oh, it's not happening. But then I started doing a lot of research. Literally, Google was my best friend, or just asking people as well. Then I realized, like, there was ovulation days, there's a certain time scale for you to actually get pregnant. So I was like the pregnancy doctor. I felt like I knew everything. So the following month, when I did try, knowing that I bought ovulation kit and everything, I fell pregnant straight away. And that was within 6 months of getting married. Only by me doing research and stuff like the days that I could actually fall pregnant. So I fell
Wow.
pregnant as soon as I actually did the research and I knew what my ovulation dates were, and when I could actually fall pregnant and like how it would happen and stuff.
So just explain, what is ovulation date? What is that all about?
So there's a certain time scale where you can actually get pregnant depending on your cycle. So if you've got a 28-day cycle, you could probably ovulate on day 14. So you only have like about 3-4 days where you can actually conceive. Because a male sperm will only live for like 3 to 5 working days. So that's the only time scale where you can actually get pregnant. So even try a day after, you might just miss it.
Wow.
So you don't think that it's that deep. You don't think it's that deep. You don't think that, you just think that, you can fall pregnant anytime just as soon as you come off, but it doesn't. And the worst thing is like for every girl is different. Some people might have a 28-day cycle. Some people, girls might have like 30, 40. So it depends on everyone's different. So
Right.
yeah,
Okay.
so the time scale is going to be different for
So
each
how did
person.
you find out about this ovulation kit? How did that come about? Was it Google or was it friends? How did you know about this ovulation kit?
About what, sorry?
The ovulation kit you were saying?
I did a lot of research. I was like online all the time, like, and like read a lot of reviews online as well, like people that couldn't get pregnant and what they could do, and the ovulation monitors and stuff like will help them pinpoint exactly when you ovulate. So you would put in the date that when you come off your cycle, off your period, like you type in that day on. Well, that's what I used to do on my monitor, and then every day you used to have like a stick, and then you have to check to each day when you ovulate. So just like I knew that I was going to ovulate on day 14, and they were my 3 best days that I could actually fall pregnant.
Wow.
So it's literally like, it's really, really good. Like, I don't think anybody, like, much people are aware about it. And like, because I know, I like telling people like which are actually struggling to get pregnant and thinking, it's not going to happen, it's not going to happen. I'm like, it will happen, it's just you don't know, like, there's a certain amount of time. Some people, I just have that luck, they can actually fall pregnant. It's just one of those things that people which are struggling, and they probably don't know, there's a certain time scale for us to be pregnant and can get pregnant. So
wow. Did you eat anything in particular? Was there any kind of foods that you had to eat?
I didn't really think that, your diet should be good when you're trying, but just like family, my mom and stuff used to say, like, eat a lot of vegetables, have a lot of water, have a lot of leafy stuff and stuff. Like, but when I couldn't get pregnant, I was on it. I was like drinking a lot of water. I was having like loads of boiled eggs and spinach, as well. And I did read up as well on benefits of certain foods which can boost pregnancy as well, which I did do as well. So that was probably a good thing as well, like eating eggs, eating spinach, and a lot of water and a lot of green vegetables and stuff. That did help a lot, I would say.
Wow. So how did you feel when you found out you were pregnant?
So every month I was disappointed. Like, I was like, oh my god, it's not happening. It's like, it was a nightmare, like waking up knowing that arm started again. I was tell my husband, like, I'm on again, and he was like, oh, don't worry, don't worry. But I felt like it's easy for the other person to say, don't worry, but you don't know exactly what's going through their head, like, you're the one that's actually is not happening, to kind of thing. But when I found out I was ecstatic. I was like, oh my god, like, I couldn't believe, I didn't know I was. I think I went somewhere, and then I didn't start, but I knew I was gonna start because I was still getting the cramps. So I thought, oh my god, here we go again, I'm gonna start. But I had a normal blood test or something at the doctor's, I remember, and then it came back like, I was pregnant. And I was like, couldn't believe it. I was like a bit shaky. And I was like, oh my god, it's happened, finally it's happened. So straight away, before calling my husband, I told my mom, I was like, oh my god, you won't believe it, I'm actually pregnant, it's happened. I was really over the moon, but I was still hesitant to tell anybody. I told my husband, told my sister as well. That's it, I didn't tell anybody else because I thought, it's still early days and you don't know. So I did have that at the back of my mind as well.
Yeah, of course, because they do say don't tell too many people just in case.
Yeah, it's just like, I think probably just culture-wise, the thing like, don't tell anybody, it's still early, and you don't know what can happen and stuff. But I did like go with that as well, just to be on the safe side.
Absolutely. And what kind of symptoms did you get apart from the cramps you were saying? Were there any
That
other?
was like, when your period's about to start, you slightly kind of get cramps kind of thing, but because your period is not going to come. So I did get cramps for like a normal few days. After that, I felt like I didn't even know I was pregnant. It was just the best pregnancy ever throughout. Um, it was like I just had this cute little bump, and whenever I went for my appointments, they said, you've just got such a round, perfect bump. It's just like amazing. It's just so perfect. I didn't have any symptoms at all, no sicknesses. Here and there, I had a bit tiredness because I was anemic, slightly anemic. But apart from that, I was like jumping on walls. I was like ecstatic. I was working till I was like literally 9 months. I didn't feel tired. I didn't feel exhausted. I was just really like energetic. I was just like, I felt like I was myself. The only thing was I had a bump as well. That's it.
Wow. So you've mentioned like throughout the pregnancy you were
Yeah.
feeling fine, you were working. So then what happened?
Yeah, all my pregnancies, in pregnancies, you'll have 2 scans. You'll have a 3-month scan and you'll have a 5-month scan. After that, you don't have any scans unless your midwife thinks that, there's an issue, or the baby's weight's lost, or the mother's got a problem like in herself, or she needs to get checked out for something, or if there's any issues in the ultrasound scans, like the 3-month one, 5-month scan. But I didn't have any issues with that. So I've attended all my antenatal classes or my midwife's appointments. I've never missed them. I was like eager half an hour before. My weight, my baby growth, my normal urine checks, my blood pressure, the babies, they should do the tape measurements at the centres. Everything was perfect. My 5-month scan, I've got pictures of my 3-month scan and my 5-month scan as well. I was told that I was having a baby boy. that was like even more static. And I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna have a boy. Like like I don't actually feel like I'm gonna be a mother responsible for someone. And like I always wanted to have a boy as well. And I thought, oh my god, even if I have one child, I'll have a boy, and I'm happy with that. So they normally did the measurements on like a chart, so the baby's growth. So every month the baby was growing perfectly fine. I think it was a Monday when
yeah, so basically you're talking about your pregnancy. Yeah.
so it was a Monday where I went for a normal scan. It wasn't a scan, sorry, it was like a normal checkup with my midwife at a community centre. I went there and she did my normal checks, everything was okay. She said to me that um, when she measured me around my stomach, she goes that it's slightly gone less. Um, the growth of the baby, like my stomach was slightly smaller than it was, so it was just a tiny bit below to what it was last time. I felt like for me it was like, oh, okay, well, let me go home, eat more and stuff like that. And I did tell like one of my sister-in-laws, my husband's sister, and I go, you know what, they said this less. They go, oh, you just eat more and just everything will be okay. Because she reassured me like everything will be okay. I thought, yeah, obviously they're the professional. She's saying if it was a problem, she would have sent me to the hospital. And I felt like, and I still feel like that was that was the main issue. She should have referred me to the hospital just like that straight away, which now they normally would do. But I felt like it was an error on her behalf because she checked the baby's heartbeat. It was perfectly fine on that day. Um, but she said to me, obviously, the growth of the baby's gone slightly small because my stomach was smaller. She should have sent me to the hospital straight away, but she never. And me, because she reassured me, I went home, it's normal and stuff like that. And every day I actually like look before in the morning, I used to look at my stomach. And for some reason, I thought, is my stomach getting a bit smaller? And I felt like it was getting smaller, but like I was getting reassurance from everybody else. Like, and I even rang her up and I go, she goes, if you've got any issues, just go to the hospital. And I felt like my movements were getting a bit less as well. I mean, for me, it was movements because it's your first pregnancy. You don't really know how a movement's like. Because I don't know, like, obviously, if it's meant to be punches, meant to be kicks, you don't know because it's your first pregnancy. You don't know what's normal, what's right, what's not right. You just get reassured about other people's. I've never been obviously pregnant. I've never been around anybody that's been pregnant. The only person I know is my sister-in-law, but I was like 9 or 10, so you don't know. And so I was at work that day, and I was getting a bit like pains like here and there, coming, going. And one of the girls which was there, and she's got about 2 kids, and she goes to me, just get checked out. The way you're saying it looks like it's contractions. And I was like, no, it's not. It can't be contractions. And I still got about 3-4 weeks left. And she goes, you never know, it can be early. And I thought, okay, you know what, it's still coming. Let me just go and get checked out. So my manager, and she goes, you know what, just go home, just go to the hospital and get checked out. So I rang my husband. I was in the canteen, and I go to him, I need to go to get checked out. He was like, oh, is the baby coming? I go, I don't know. I rang my mom as well. I go, I'm getting pain. She goes, oh, Amy, normally it's okay. Not yet. There's loads of time left here. I got 3 weeks left here. You'll be okay. And I was like, okay. Then I was waiting for him, and because he thought it was normal, she was getting pain. If she was in a lot of pain, she'll be like, oh, get here right now. Because I was really calm. And then he ate his breakfast and everything. And he came to pick me up. That was an hour afterwards. I phoned him. He was still ringing me to check if I'm okay. And I was like, yeah, just normal pains here and go there. So I went to the hospital. They made me wait because I wasn't in a lot of pain. So clearly they knew I wasn't in labour. As far as I was concerned, they asked me what's the matter, and I said I'm still getting bit pains. So I had to obviously wait for them to see me. So I was waiting for a good over hour or something. So my husband goes, oh, you know what? It's so hot here. I'm just sitting here for so long. I'm just gonna go out for some fresh air, and I'll bring your mom if you want me to. Because at that stage I was because the pains were getting quite stronger, and I was like crying, and I was like, I'll just get my mom. And my mom, I wanted my mom to be my birthing partner as well. I was like, just go and just get at that point, you want the husband to go, you want your mom to come. So I was like, just get my mom, you just go, please. And then he was like, fine. So when he went, they called me in like literally after 5 minutes. And then he goes, you know, I'm on the way to get your mom. So what do you want me to do? I go, oh, I'm okay, I'm on. Obviously they're not gonna do nothing yet. And so I was still crying and stuff. So I was lying. They checked the baby's heartbeat. And I remember, like when I went for my appointments, they used to say to me, oh, he's really fidgety. We can't find him. He's like always like jumping up and down and moving around. He's a bit fidgety baby. So when they were checking me and like she was checking one side, the other side, I was like, you want me to find him because he's quite fidgety. And I was like a bit happy about that. And she's like pressing my stomach from one side to the other side. Let me feel the baby's bum. Let's feel his head. And I was like, oh my gosh, she's taking ages. And I was like, he's really fidgety. That's what the midwife said to me. And she was like, okay. And she had this face on her, like it's something like her face. Like I can't forget her face. Like if someone brought me to me, I would know it's her. Like her face is like fixed in my brain. Like she had that face. Like there's something wrong. And then she goes, you know what? Just bear me a moment. And I go, why? What's my? I can't find him. And I was like, like my heart was really pumping really fast. And she's like, just relax, mom. Everything's okay. I'm just gonna get someone else to check. And then another midwife came and she checked as well. She then she found a heartbeat, but she goes, is this mom's or is this yours? And they were having a discussion. They were getting confused if it's my heartbeat or if it's the baby's heartbeat. And that made me all. Then when she said, oh, it's the baby's, I'm sure, look, it's different. It's the baby's heartbeat. And that made me relax. Oh my God, they found it. Thank God. And then they started having a discussion and saying, the other one was saying, no, look like that. Then it's like, okay, mom, we just got to call a doctor. And I was like, oh my God, like what's going on? What? And nobody was with me, and I was getting on my like, why can't they find the heartbeat? And I was like, what's the matter? Why can't they find the heartbeat? Is everything okay? They go, mom, it's okay. And they go, oh, you look so pretty. And because that day I was at work and I was dressed up, he goes, you look so nice. And I was like, yeah. And I go, is baby okay? And they got I got my first baby and stuff. I think at that age I was like only like 8, 19 or something like that. 20. And she was like, where's your husband? And I was like, he's gone to get my mom. And he's like, okay. And then another doctor came with the monitor. And then he obviously put the belt on. He was a bit serious. He didn't really have a conversation with me. He just like as he was coming and doing his job. So he put that belt around me and then checked the baby's heartbeat. He had the screen turned around, and I was like trying to get up, trying to see the baby, to see I could see the shape of the head and everything. Then he was keeping looking and zooming in and zooming out. He was there for a good 5-10 minutes, and then he goes, I'm really sorry. And I was like, sorry for what? What do you mean? He goes, I'm really sorry, there's no heartbeat. And I was like, literally, I was shaking. I was like crying. I was like, what do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? And he's like, I'm really sorry. And the other one, the one that originally was there, the one that couldn't find the heartbeat, she called me. She goes, it's okay. With your husband. Give me your phone. And I was like, like, I was like really quiet. And then I just froze. And I was like, I didn't know what was happening. Like, my own word. I thought, what the heck? Like, what are they talking about? Like, what is going on? Then I rang my mom. And I go, before my husband, I rang my mom. I was like, there's no heartbeat. And mom was like, what? Like shocked. And then I could hear like my sisters and she's saying, my mom's like telling them she could cut the phone off. And then I rang my husband and I was like, you know what? There's no heartbeat. He's like, what? And then he's like literally flew here. I nearly had an accident or whatever. And then I literally flew to me. And then he was like, literally within like 5-10 minutes, like all my family was there, like literally outside the hospital, and it's like, let's go and see her. So they let my mom and him in, and my husband was like, I haven't seen that look on his face, like what the heck? And my mom was like crying, she's like rubbing me. I was like, just get off me, like what the heck, what are they saying? And I was like, how do you mean? Mom goes, what happened? I was like, what do you mean what happened? I was like, I don't know what happened. And they go, you have to wait. Then like after about a good half an hour, I was still lying on the bed. That bit is a bit of like days, like I don't know what happened. My contractions were getting stronger, and I felt like I need to go to the toilet and everything, and every like my brothers and everything were outside, and I was keeping like holding my stomach. I was in agony and keep on going to the toilet, and they were just outside crying, and like they didn't say nothing to me. They go, you okay? And it's like my own world. Like obviously I was in agony. Obviously I knew what labor is, but I just constantly kept going to the toilet. And everybody was saying, obviously, if it's a baby's died, that labor is more worse because the baby's not pushing out. So obviously she's in distress and she's in agony. And mom's like, please just do an operation and get the baby out. And they go, in this country, it's not allowed. We can't operate on her to get the baby out. It's a full-grown baby. She has to deliver the baby. Mom's like, please, we'll do anything. Just get the baby out of her. She's in distress. She's weak. She can't do it. She's only little. She don't know. I was to my mom, I'm little. I'm a baby, her baby. And my husband's like, just operate. And my brother came and spoke to the doctors, just get the baby out first. She wanted to deliver the baby and stuff. And they go, there's no way, because babe, we can't operate on her unless there was something dramatic, and and she'll have to deliver the baby. My contractions were getting ridiculous. So they go to then they go, you have to wait. This was like past midnight. They go, we have to call a consultant in to make sure when the death occurred, and the time scale, and what the state is of the baby. So I waited a few hours. By that few hours, the contractions were getting ridiculous. So there was a lady which came. She spoke Urdu. So she could speak to my mom and stuff. And she goes, so she did all the scans, and my mom and my husband, they were able to see the monitor for the baby. They got this baby's head, this is the baby's thing, I was like, obviously, like, that's the baby's inside me, that's the head, that's the arms. I go, there's no heartbeat. They go, it looks like the baby passed away a week ago. And then I said to mom, obviously, I told her that, I told her that I couldn't feel the baby then. I told her that I couldn't feel the baby then, and like, obviously the baby was getting smaller. Clearly she didn't do nothing. She didn't fear me and stuff. And mom goes, "I'll forget it. Whatever's meant to happen, it happened, and just be strong." And obviously, if this, in our religion, obviously it states that if a baby passes away, a full-grown baby, it'll automatically enter heaven, and regardless of the mother's sins or the father's sins, the baby will ensure that the mother reaches paradise with him, and he'll pull the mother with the umbilical cord to heaven, regardless. And that kind of stuff, like, brought tears to my eyes, and go, he's gonna save me in the world after, and he's sinless, he dies sinless, and maybe one day we're all gonna die. And in that sense, like, there were people saying that sort of stuff to me, and he's in paradise, he's more better. Maybe this world wasn't good enough, he was way better for this world, so maybe God didn't want him to be here. That sort of stuff. It's like, yeah, but why would God put me through so much pain? He's my son, I wanted him, I carried him for 9 months, and them sort of questions. And they go to me that we're going to give her a pill to take, and after she's taken a pill, she'll go into labor. And my family were not having it. They were like, she's in so much agony, you're going to send her home in this state. We're going to come back in an hour, 2 hours time. Why are you going to send her home for? Give her a bed, she's in here, she'll give birth here. And there's like, sorry, we can't do that, because my family threw a fuss, and then they kept me in. Lucky they did. I went into labor literally from the time they said that, literally within half an hour. So it was pointless of them sending us home anyways. So I went into labor, and I could remember, like, by that time, obviously, I had my makeup on. I come from work, my makeup was all off and crying. My hair was all just like, I looked like, I've come from like a nightmare kind of thing. And then they put me in a nightgown thing on the hospital one. And my husband had the baby's changing bag as well, because he thought, obviously, I'm going to go into labor, and he had it in his boot and stuff. So before, like, obviously, he had it with him. We brought it with us to the hospital. So they put me in my nightgown. I was keeping going back and forth to the toilet, literally back and forth. I'm in agony, and I could see my family sitting on the floor in the corridor and looking at them, and they all had their head down, like, thinking, what the heck, like, what's happened. And my waters broke. Like, obviously, I didn't know how labor was going to be, considering my first labor. Obviously, labor, I didn't know what to expect. And my husband was just crying. My mom was crying. My mother-in-law was there crying. Literally, there was like my mom, my sister-in-law, my husband, mother-in-law, one of my sisters. They were all there, like, when I was giving birth. Like, literally, there was like a curtain thing there. So my husband was like behind, because obviously I was giving birth, and my mom and them lot were there. So he was behind the curtain. I could hear them crying and stuff. And they gave me gas. I didn't have no like epidural or anything like that. I was in my own word, like, even buzzing. I was like, oh, we bought the baby's clothes. Start talking about the baby, because I was like on the gas, and I was like thinking, oh, my boy, and I was gonna name him this. I was gonna name him this, and like the nurse would be like reassuring me, come on, mom, you can do it. Come on, push, this and that. It's like, and obviously I did, and all I could hear them crying, and I was crying, and mom was like, keep on like rubbing my head and everything, and I was like, oh, just get off me, leave me alone. And I can remember, like, when I gave birth to him, he came out, and I remember they said, oh my God, he is so tall. that's I could remember. He was so tall, and they didn't let me hold him, obviously, because obviously he died a week ago, so he wasn't gonna look like a full, like a born baby kind of thing. There would have been like some scratches and some, like, when someone dies and stuff. So they put him in a like a cot thing next to me on the bed, and I looked at him. Oh my god, he looks like he had like a glow to him, even though he passed away a week ago. He had like long hair, and then his feet were really long, his hands were really long, and they were right. He was really, really tall, because his granddad's like 6'8" or something, and he was really tall. And I could picture his face like there, and he had like a scratch on his eye. He had a scratch in his eye. His foot was grazed, like he had a big cut in his foot, like when someone like puts a knife through it, like his skin.
Yeah.
He had that on there, and I was like, I didn't want to look at him, but I didn't want to look at him. I was like, oh, that's it, kind of thing. I was like, take him away from me now. That's it. I don't want to. And the mum looked at him, and my mother-in-law came, and my mom came. They all looked at him. They were touching him, and they took him away for a bit because they cleaned him up, and they put like the hospital clothes on him. And I was like, why have you put them clothes on him for? Because we've got our own clothes. Then I realized, like, obviously how small he is, and I was like, I don't want them to put your clothes on him. I want them to put my clothes on him that I bought and stuff. Mom's like, it doesn't matter. And then he was there, and I was like, then when everybody went, then my mum them like had gone after like ages, and I said I want some time with them, and then they left him with me, and I'm just like observing him, looking at him, and they offered me like a memory box where they can put like his name, like a certificate thing, and I don't know what, I can't remember what it was, and I was like, I don't want it. What is that gonna do for me? What is it gonna do for me? I don't know what it's gonna do. It's not gonna make me feel better. It's not gonna bring him back. It's not gonna remind me of him. It's not gonna do nothing. It's just gonna make everything worse for me. I don't want it. They go, Mom, you sure? I go, yeah, I don't want it. And they also took some pictures of him. And at that point, I said, I don't want no pictures of him. I don't want it. But I know, till this day, I know they took the pictures. His older sisters got them. And even like last week, I was thinking I'm gonna ask her, but I thought, no, I'm not gonna ask her for them. But I know she's got them. They were like full, like big pictures, like 3-4 pictures. And I could remember like they put a blue hat on him, and they just he had these blue clothes on him and stuff. And I can still picture his face. Like all I can think about that he had grazes on him, and like the dad's got really big eyes. He had his eyes and stuff like that. And I thought, like, within a week, something so dramatic can happen. And then after that, I had to come back home, obviously, on the second, I think it was in the second day I had to come back home. So all this happened at night time. So the next day I had to come back home. Prior to that, obviously, because I knew I was gonna have a boy, I bought Moses' basket. I bought like hundreds of pounds of clothes. And my sisters like had bought like a bouncer, they bought a walker, they've literally bought everything. And I had so much clothes. Like after work, when I used to finish, I used to go to the shops, and I used to always go to Mother Care and stuff next. I used to always pick up stuff for him all the time. So I literally had, and mother-in-law was like, hide this stuff. People on the road are going to see, like, you're having a boy and they're going to see this stuff. It's like, oh, I don't care. And the room was actually packed with this stuff. And then I had to go back home. And then there's so much people in the house. And I thought, oh my God. And then I went straight to the room. And I could see his basket there, and I could see his clothes and everything, and my husband trying to move it to the other room, and I felt like all empty, like I got all this that I went through, like all the pregnancy I've carried him for like full 9 months. There's literally 3 weeks left. I would have had him. Like, why? Obviously, if I just probably used my brain and thought, let's go and get checked out myself, even though she never told me to. I should have just gone. Only a week difference. Why if this? Why if I done this? If I felt like, if I thought my stomach was getting it was smaller when I looked in the mirror, why didn't I go? If I didn't feel the movements, why didn't I go? Like, I didn't, because you don't think like that, because you don't think that can happen. I've never ever come across that someone's had a stillbirth. Never. Because a stillbirth is obviously way harder to deliver a baby because the baby's not pushing. So everybody's like, how is she going to deliver the baby at that point? Like, it's going to be really hard for her. But obviously it did happen. But, since it's happened to me, I've come across so much people that it's happened to. It's really, really common. It's just because you don't hear about it, because you're not speaking to the people. And when you do hear about it, you know that it's common. But till this day, I still think, why me? Why did it happen to me? Why I should have done this, should have done that. Then I think, like, obviously he's in a better place, and maybe he was too good for this world, and I'm gonna see him one day, and I get reassured in that sense. But like the pain is still there because your first is your first, regardless of you can have like 100 kids after that. That replacement, you can't get that back. Maybe like mentally or emotionally, when people say you get healed, like when you have your other kids, you find that sort of comfort, that reassurance. Even so, you get distracted on a daily basis with your kids, but the memory, the what you went through and stuff like that, that always stays with you. Like since I've had him, and I wanted to, after obviously all this happened, within 3 months, I was keeping bugging my husband. I was like, what, I really want another baby. I want another baby, and obviously I wanted that replacement, and obviously he wanted to give me whatever I wanted. Because obviously he wanted me to be okay, and it's like, yeah, obviously we can have another baby and stuff. And I fell pregnant within 3 months, and I had my eldest daughter, which is now she's 5, so my son would have been 6. And she was like, my husband says, like, you're always letting her off with everything. You know what? She was my comfort. She made me feel better. She distracted me. She made me think less about things. Like I forgot about everything. When I had the days, and I thought, I've got her. And I look at her and think, oh my god, like, at least I've got her. And then after that, I thought, I still felt like I'm not complete. There's something not there. I don't know. I don't feel right. Then I had my other daughter. I was all happy again. Then maybe I thought, maybe like I need a son. Like maybe that's what the problem is. Maybe like, I'm feeling like a bit empty. I'm always thinking about him. What is it? Then I had my son, who is he's gonna be 3 in September now. When I had him, I was delighted, and I thought, oh my god, like I've got my son now. And then whenever I look at him, I can picture my other son, and I think like there's so much difference between him and him. They look totally different. Obviously he looked different. My 3-year-old, he looks different. I'm thinking, oh, that would have been his brother. And I still think, then I had, obviously after him, I had another boy.
Oh,
He's
wow.
Yeah, and he's 8 months now. And so I had him October last year, and he's 9. Yeah, he's gonna be a year in October. So I was like, I had him. Now I've got 2 boys, 2 girls, and I'm complete. I'm happy. And I don't want any more kids. I think it's just stressful, but I think like I just have to come to terms, like what's happened has happened, and I can't bring him back. And even like with his name, when he was born, before he was born, I wanted to call him Musa, but
Okay.
but when he was born, I dramatically changed my mind like that, and I thought, not gonna call him that. I'm gonna call him Azan, because he will be remembered 5 times a day. When like my mother-in-law, she used to pray 5 times a day, and I thought like she used to say, oh, the Azan is on. My mom and them, like, I didn't used to pray that much, and I was like, everybody will remember him because everybody's saying the word, Azan's happening, be quiet. And I thought, no matter what, his name will be remembered. Like even like years down the line, no one's gonna say. It's normally like when the kids now, my kids, they'd be like, Mom, look, the Azan's on. Or my daughter comes back from mosque and says, Mom, the boys are reading the Azan today, and straight away he's in my head. And I thought, like, even to this day, I'm thinking, what amazing name. And then I do tell her, I have told my older daughter, and I was like, you've got a brother, he's in paradise, because she's learning about Jannah in mosque, and she's learning, I go, you're so lucky because you got a brother up there. And she asks me questions, and she goes, Mommy, I got my big brother, he looks at me and everything. So it makes me, like, when they're talking about it, it reassures me, like, makes me happy, like, oh, he's involved as well. But then, when some of my friends or cousins which had babies which were due around about the same like time, like they're like 6 years old, and I'm thinking, oh, he was 6 years old, or he's 6 years old, and then he still brings back memories, kind of thing. I used to have like loads of days like that I used to like cry every night for the past like 2 years, like from the day that he was born, every other day. And it was like, oh, what are you crying for? It doesn't matter. Like even like now it's cut down a lot. I'll probably have like here and there, when you're having a bad day, when
Yeah.
everything gets too much and you just cry, and the only thing that comes to your mind is him, and that's it. Yeah. And normally I wouldn't like talk about it as much. I'd be like, in the back of my mind, when someone asks me, then I'd be like, oh, I'll just give them the basics. but with Sana, obviously, I was quite close with her and stuff like that. I did disclose to her, and then obviously she said who you was as well.
Yeah,
So
of course.
that's why I was like, okay, kind of comfortable talking about it, but it's hard to actually give someone like the full details. But I like telling people, like people that are pregnant, like for the first time, I they're like a bit clueless, like what can happen, what can't happen. I'm like, no matter what it is, you have to go and get checked out if there's an issue. Because when I went like last year when I was at work and one of the girls which were pregnant, I'm like, she used to come to me for everything regarding pregnancy, and I used to say to her, she's like, oh, I'm bleeding slightly, and I was like, go hospital right now, and she used to go and get checked out. I'm like, no matter how little, how stupid you think something is, or for example, you haven't felt the baby for 2 hours, that's an issue. Go and get it checked out. That you should feel a pattern for the baby. I go to you, it might be stupid. You might be thinking they're gonna think you're stupid, and you're coming here every week or you're coming here every 2 days to check if the baby's okay. You're entitled to that. You think something's wrong, you're the mother, the baby's inside you. You should know what's best for your baby. You should know. You're the only person who knows that what is going on inside you. They can check and reassure you everything's okay, but that's their job. They should be doing that. So after obviously I had my son, with my other pregnancies, I was like literally on the ball. I used to like I used to have had my hand on my stomach literally 24/7. I used to count
Wow.
how many times the baby's kicking. My husband used to think I'm a psycho. Like he's like, a baby's okay, drink some water, walk around. I think it got easy like my third and my fourth pregnancies, but when I had my daughter, I was like all the time like touching my stomach. They did kind of take more care of me. They only let my pregnancy go up to 30, 33 weeks. They wanted to induce me at that point because they said at this point they still don't know. Obviously, I didn't do a postmortem. I thought um, it's already hurt. What is the postmortem gonna do? Whatever's meant to happen is going to happen in other pregnancies. They monitored me when I reached 25 weeks. They monitored me every 2 weeks, did like a scan, they just check the umbilical cord's working, the baby's growth is okay and stuff like that. So did growth scans on me. And my daughter's pregnancies, they wanted to induce me, but I went into labour myself at 34 weeks. With my other daughter, I went into labour at 33 weeks. With my son, they wanted to induce me. I went into labour at 35 weeks. My other son, I went into labour at 36 weeks. So they have always planned an early inducing process for me, which is good as well. Obviously, I went into labour myself, but they have kind of monitored me before. But with my last pregnancies, because I've had like 3 successful pregnancies, they were less bothered. They were like,
Yeah.
you've had successful pregnancies, we'll monitor you, but we'll see. We want you to go into labour yourself. So they,
Wow.
even though I've said to them, you know what, just do a C-section, get the baby out. Because when I was around about 34 weeks, I'm like, get the baby out, please, I beg you, just do a C-section, get the baby out. And because they get static growth, so they start growing at a certain time. So maybe that was the problem. They said that at that time they think the umbilical cord failed because it was really small. So maybe he did have static growth, and obviously um, he stopped growing, but they monitored this pregnancy. They didn't do much. They just let me go into labor myself. They didn't want to do a C-section. They go, you've delivered all your children, we want you to deliver the baby, you can, you'll be okay. But I'm glad, like, obviously I gave birth to them, delivered them all. I didn't have a C-section or anything like that. But
Wow.
yeah.
Your story, I mean, it's shocking, but it's also, there is a happily ever after as well.
Yeah.
It's, you speak about it so passionately, but at the same time, it's like you remember it as if it was yesterday.
Yeah, you can't, it's something that's always there. Because people say like relatives and that they kind of forget. They think that it's happened years and years ago. Like obviously it happened like 7 years ago. They think that it's it's normal, it's happened. They don't really wouldn't ever talk about it, or they wouldn't ever bring it up again because I've had normal pregnancies, I've been okay. And now they just think like the kids that I've got, even like my husband, he knows, like he goes like to the graveyard, like if there's Eid or if it's like there's something happening, he'll go. But the time that he goes, it's slowly like cutting down kind of thing. And because with all your life commitments and stuff like that, and to
Yeah.
be honest with you, I've never ever gone to his grave. never gone to Greece. That's people would think like, how weird is that? Like I've never gone. Like like when he was buried, I did like I wanted to, but I don't think I had the courage to go. Like even to this many years, I still haven't got the courage to go. I can't bear him to see like him there, kind of thing. Like
Yeah.
I just still can't physically. I just still can't go. I don't think I'll ever be ready to go. I just think that he's there, and I know he's there, and that's it, kind of thing. But I don't think. I think like the other people can kind of get over it. It's happened, but for me myself, I think it's always inside me. Like, and I always wish, and I just think like, oh my god, like I wish I could turn the clock back. I just wish for that one more chance, kind of thing. I think that everybody does that with education, or
God, yeah.
like with family or mistakes that they've made. But I always like sometimes beg and like, oh no, why did this happen to me? And sometimes I think like like sometimes like when I've been to the hospital with my pregnancies, and they ask me the pregnancy, and they think that, do I need to speak to someone, talk about it to a counselor and stuff like that. And I don't think that can help someone, to be honest with you, because it's just you can talk to someone about it, but I don't think you can ever heal. You just heal in your own time, kind of thing. It depends how you as a person. Like with me, like I know he's there, he's looked after. I know he's okay. I know I'll see him one day, but he's always inside me, because I think that is more easier if you've had a pregnancy and you lose a pregnancy within 3 months. So I've had a miscarriage at 3 months. For example, I think it was like 8, 9 weeks or something. That was
God.
that was before I had my 8-month-old, but that was normal to me. I thought, yeah, that's okay, because it's common. Miscarriages are so common up to 3 months, and I think even if it was 4 months and I lost him, that would have been perfectly fine. I would have been okay with that, because it's not a fully grown baby. It's not fully developed, kind of thing, and it's easy. So when people lose, like for some people it's hard. Obviously, if they have a miscarriage at 8, 9 weeks, the thought of the excitement of being pregnant and stuff like that. But I think it's much more uh, easier to kind of get over. But if you've
Yeah.
carried a full baby for full 9 months and the baby's nearly due, and something like that to happen dramatically, it's like horrendous. I wouldn't like
Of
want
course.
anybody to go through that.
Of course. I mean, the thought of giving birth to a baby, but knowing that there's no heartbeat of the
Yeah,
baby. I mean, the thought of anybody going through that, it's hurtful. I
yeah,
just can't believe that you've been through so much, and how well you speak about it and how open you are about it. To be fair, from the 40 minutes that I've spoken to you, I strongly feel that when people out there hear your story, they'll learn so much, but at the same time, they'll be empowered by your story,
yeah,
because after you've had this stillbirth, you've had more children, which is amazing. Like
yeah,
you said, obviously it doesn't get, obviously they're not the replacement. Your first will always be your first, like you said, but you've still had your big family, your happily ever after, like you did say.
yeah.
Before we do finish off, what advice would you give to anyone out there?
That's pregnant.
Yeah, or in general.
Just in general, I think that every pregnancy is different. So whatever you experience in your first pregnancy, the symptoms or what you're going through is not going to be the same in the second pregnancy. Every pregnancy is different. So for the first pregnancy, you might vomit. For the second pregnancy, you might be sleeping throughout, or your third baby might not move as much, because it might just be a lazy baby. So every single pregnancy is different. So you got to treat every pregnancy different. So you can't say like, my first baby moved less, so my second baby's going to move less. That's not the case. They're two different babies. So you just got to classify each pregnancy as it is and treat every baby differently. And I was just like, be careful, and whenever like you think something's wrong, never ever hesitate to get checked out, because there's no harm in getting yourself checked out. You're not going to lose nothing. Just like, you're going there waiting, but you'll be reassured, rather than at the back of your mind thinking the next day, I should have gone, it's gone more worse. Because if you went at your first instinct, something would have been resolved. There's so many resources to make sure the baby's okay.
The beast, you better be safe than sorry.
Definitely, yes.
Thank you so much. I just want to say a massive thank you for sharing your story.